So this is everything we used in terms of plastic, and this is what we replaced it with. What is up, guys? Welcome to Barrookie. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how we changed some plastic products in order to avoid microplastics into metal, ceramic, and glass in order to hopefully be a lot more healthier. Let's go! So plastics are literally everywhere, but that is not the real problem. The problem is the microplastics that come loose from the plastic products that we use. They come in the air that we breathe, they come out of the containers in the food that we eat, and they end up in our own bodies. The problem with that is that they have the potential to disrupt hormone functioning, and they can disrupt a lot of systems in our body. Now, if this was a very big, major problem, we would have probably already done something about it. I don't want to take my chances, and I still want to take some steps in order to be a lot more healthy and in order to avoid plastic. So in order to show you that plastics are literally everywhere, let's play a game. I want you to count how many hours, minutes, or maybe seconds you can go without touching anything of plastic. Now, if you want to pause this video, you've probably already lost the challenge, because chances are if you're watching on your phone has a plastic case, or if you're watching on your television, your remote is also made out of plastic. Nonetheless, if you're playing this video on your computer, you're also going to use your mouse, which is probably also made out of plastic. So it's very, very difficult to avoid, and it's not something we should do because plastic is really useful in our day-to-day life, and it allows us to do things that we wouldn't have been able to do without plastics. But I think as it comes to things that get into our body, it's so important to avoid them. And that's why I have 5 rules that I picked up from the Huberman Lab podcast, and also about just going through life and thinking, how can I avoid plastics? And in today's video, I'm gonna share them with you. The first rule that I took is I changed my trusty plastic water bottle with a stainless steel one. Preferably, I like to go to glass, but stainless steel is a lot more durable, so that's why I went with this one. When I drink something, I want to limit my exposure of that fluid to plastic. And that's really difficult, because did you know that even aluminum cans have a plastic lining into them? So yes, the beverages that you drink out of an aluminum can do not come into contact with that aluminum. So basically, they still are in a plastic container. Did you also know that bottled water, obviously contained in plastic, when that is being stored or being transported, potentially it can heat up, and the heat makes sure that more microplastic gets loosened into the water, and that is also going to get into your body. Now, tap water, on the other hand, is not always as safe as well. And that's why I need to find a way to get that microplastic out of the water. You can use reverse osmosis, or you can use distillation. I haven't really decided on which one I want to have, but I'm really looking into that in order to get rid of the microplastics out of the tap. But for now, yeah, that's really still a source for me of microplastics. Another thing that I try to limit is the cutlery. Like, I avoided all the plastic cutlery. We already threw it away, so unfortunately I can't show you the plastic version, but we went to IKEA and got a lot of stainless steel cutlery, because the thing is, this also comes into contact with your food and also with heat sources. Typically you have like a pot that's on the fire, and then things get heat up, and if you then go with a plastic thing into your food, you potentially loosen all kinds of microplastics. So that's why I found it really, really important to make sure that my cutlery is as much as possible stainless steel. Now, let's take a look at kids' cutlery, or anything for kids for that matter. They use these type of things. Like, this is a spoon made out of plastic. Normally, you wouldn't think that things come loose from a spoon. Also, children's food is typically not heated that much, so it shouldn't be a problem, right? But have you ever seen a kid eating? It's like it bites, it chews on everything. Yes, this thing here, in my opinion, is a real danger. I avoided using spoons like this as much as possible, and we try to use stainless steel spoons. Now, going over to the third category, and that is everything kids. Like, not only in spoons they're going to bite, if they have a little plastic cup, they're also going to bite into that. And as you can see here, these little pots from IKEA, they stain. So if food gets stained into the plastic, for me in my head, it's also the other way around. Plastic gets into your food. So that's why all these things that are for kids, we try to avoid, and we went to things like ceramic, things like stainless steel. It's not as kids-proof, but it contains a lot less plastic, and that for me is more important. Like, we can always buy new things if it breaks. And also it teaches them to be more careful with their stuff. And I'm not saying you should do that with your kids that are like 1 year old, but my 3-year-olds can perfectly eat out of a ceramic plate. They can perfectly eat out of a ceramic cup. So that is just absolutely awesome. Also with their drinking beaker, now typically you see those ones with a straw and it's all plastic. We wanted to limit that, and we just bought like a plastic lid. Now if the lid is on there, typically if the bottle is upright, it doesn't come into contact with the plastic knob. So I think this is forgivable. Now on to the most important rule, lesson, whatever you like to call it, and that is heating stuff up in plastic. Like, every time you heat something up, even though it's microwave friendly, even though it's oven friendly, that doesn't mean that things aren't getting into your food. Basically, microwave friendly will just mean that this won't melt into the microwave. It doesn't mean that things won't leach into your food. So there's a very important distinction for you guys. We changed all our plastic containers with glass ones, so they're recovered. But also, if we have some ready-to-eat meals that are coming into plastic containers, typically we just stab them with a fork and put them in the microwave. But now what we're doing is we take that out, we dump it in a ceramic container, and we put that into the microwave, which is a lot safer, in my opinion, and also in my mind. So that is how we transitioned out of that. I'm telling you guys, you can't avoid plastic altogether because the things that you buy typically come in plastic containers. But avoiding heating those things in their plastic containers can be hopefully a lifesaver. That's also why we changed this one out. So this is basically to drain the water out of something that you just cooked. And we've used this thing for like 6 years, and now we're like, hey, we can't just do that. You pour boiling water over this. So we changed that also from IKEA with this thing here, stainless steel all the way. Another thing, and that is basically a last rule, we try to store as much as possible in either glass or stainless steel or ceramic. Like, say you make some spaghetti, you want to freeze some stuff in, what you typically go for is plastic containers, and we use them a bunch, right? They're very easy to store also in the freezer, so they're very nice. But, and this is not a good example, but they stain also very quickly. Now, what also happens is sometimes you just made your spaghetti sauce and then you pour that hot into your plastic container. So that we also want to avoid. So for the freezer, we also bought these stainless steel containers with a plastic lid, but that's not big of a deal because we're going to put this in the freezer and we can let this cool to room temperature just in the stainless steel pot. And once it's cooled down, then we can add the lid. So yeah, it all boils down to don't let heat and plastic and food come into contact with each other, it's like a trifecta that you don't want to have. It's better to eliminate that plastic from the heat source and your food and heat things up into glass or stainless steel. Now, can you avoid plastic altogether? That is going to be very, very difficult. And for your own sanity, don't try to limit plastic altogether. Just do what you can, right? And if these baby steps already help, that's great. And maybe it turns out that microplastics aren't that bad after all, I don't know. And maybe stainless steel is bad. Maybe some heavy metals are leaching into your food through stainless steel, I don't know. But for me, in my head, this seems more logical than this. So that's why we went with this route. And I just want to share that in this video with you guys. Don't get insane over avoiding too much plastic, but I think this has more charm, it just feels better in my head. So yeah, that's why we chose for this. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. I hope you got something out of it. And let me know in the comments down below what you are doing in order to avoid microplastics getting into your body. And I guess I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Bye!